One of these days, I'm going to get a tattoo and shock all of you. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. So, this is a donation reward for Venom, and it is a movie that is, to my knowledge, really well received. And I believe it's based on a book and it has 2 sequels. It's also a remake. 2 years prior to this, this came out in 2011. 2 years prior, though, in 2009, there was a Swedish version of the film that came out. I think the book might be Swedish. So, this isn't even the original version of the movie. I only found that out because when I was getting the movie, I saw like there's one from 2009, one from 2011. I'm like, I don't know. So I had to look it up. I looked up the 2009 one. And it's like, oh, this is a Swedish film. Probably not what I would be watching here. I assume you meant the 2011 one, Venom, because that's, I assume, the one everyone here in America at least would know most about. I don't know who's in this. I swear I've heard of who the main actress is before, but I just can't place it for the life of me. And I don't know anyone else in it that I know of. I don't know of anyone else in it. Let's put it that way. Off the top of my head, if I have heard of something like that, I just don't remember. Now, this is a thriller, and I don't really know much of anything about the actual plot of it. All I know is there's a girl who I guess has a dragon tattoo. That's how blind I am with this movie. It could be anything, but it is a longer movie. This is 2.5 hours long, so got to get on this. I don't know what to expect, but I'm hoping to enjoy this. So honestly, I think we should just get into this and see what we have in store. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I said there was a couple things I wanted to look up. And the first was like what people thought of Rooney Mara's performance here and the character. And apparently she was well praised for it. It is like really well received, just as the movie was. So yeah, no issues there. And then I wanted to see thoughts on the girl with the dragon. I should have already had this up. But okay, so it looks like there's a lot of posts about this, about the rape scenes. And it kind of looks like there's a lot of different views on it. According to this, though, apparently Rooney Mara said she watched Toy Story 3 to relax after those scenes. So that's really interesting. But it seems like there's like some various views on it, and like there's this one article that says the problem of the rape scene and everything. Trying to like go through this real quick. I'm not going to go through the entire thing, but yeah, it just seems like different people probably have different views on it. Which, yeah, I feel like that's valid to be divisive over a scene like that, especially when there's multiple of them. Um, I don't know how the original books went, but uh, I don't know if this is like if this is what happened in the books and they wanted to stay true to that. And I'm sure that the actors were like, they were like helping each other through stuff like this. And again, Rooney Mara apparently watched Toy Story 3, but I hope they had like a counselor on set to help with that as well. Because a lot of movies that portray that kind of thing nowadays will have counselors on set to help actors and actresses get through that. Because even though you're not, like nothing's actually happening, just the idea of it, especially when you're getting so into character, can obviously be very heavy for some people to go through. Like that feels just obvious. Um, so yeah, it makes sense that I could see why some people would not like those scenes. Um, my view on it, just again, without knowing the context of the books and everything, is they are shown actively to not be sexually gratifying or, for lack of a better word, fan servicey. They're not meant to be attractive and sexy. They're meant to be fucked up, horrifying, and upsetting, which they were. As clearly shown by my reaction to that, like I was not in a good mental place at that point. And when she finally gets her revenge on the absolute cunt bag, it's like this really satisfying, triumphant moment. And on top of that, you also have the fact that all these victims for this entire 40-year murder mystery were also raped and everything by two different people, we find out. And that included both Martin and Harriet being raped by their father. And then after his death, Martin continuing in that tradition, raping his sister and, raping and killing others as well. It's very fucked and it's portrayed as such. And then when Lisbeth has sex with Mikhail, it's meant to be seen as her kind of taking her autonomy back, choosing to engage in sex on her what's the word? My mind's blanking. By her account. She's choosing to do it. She's not letting somebody else choose it for her. And yeah, it leads into having multiple sexual encounters with him to where they form this relationship that, as we see at the end, kind of goes a little sideways. Which really sucks, but yeah. I feel like rape being like a major part of like the story and the mystery with behind all these deaths and everything, being part of her specific story and why she gets like so invested in this case and all, it gives this like a sense of almost urgency to solve this decades old mystery, while also like painting the bad guys as that detestable. Because like I said, rape is one of the only crimes that I believe are truly unforgivable and inexcusable. Like, you can excuse murder at points like, oh, your self-defense and whatnot. Defense of your family members or friends. There are reasons you could murder someone, and you could technically be in the right for doing so. There is no reason you could rape someone and be in the right. There's no reason you could be a Nazi and be in the right. That didn't end up coming too much into play in this movie, though it was like a motivating factor for some of the murders, I guess, following these Jewish women, but still. Um, but the rape aspect of it was heavy and very hard to sit through, and it was supposed to be. When sexual assault is shown in film, shows, games, and it's shown to be fucked up and entirely not just undesirable, but entirely detestable to the point where it makes you feel nauseous. As hard as it can be to sit through, I feel like that's the right way to do it. If you're going to show it for one reason or another, if it's in this case like following the book, or if it's like an original story, if you want to like really hammer something in, some themes and messages and everything. Like again, there's themes and messages in this with Lisbeth's autonomy and the way she's been treated her entire life since she was 12 years old. But I feel like that's the best way to do it. And it's not comfortable to watch. It's extremely uncomfortable and fucked up to view, witness to in any way. But the fact that it got me as, like, upset, as viscerally upset as I was, is definitely the right reaction to have to that. I would be really fucking worried if I wasn't fucked up over that. For my own sake and for others. Because I would say the same to anybody who watches this. If those scenes don't fuck you up, if those scenes don't make you extremely uncomfortable to the point of feeling nauseous, there's something wrong with you and you need to get that looked at. Like, there's something mentally wrong with you if you can watch those scenes and not get upset by them. Or hear about, like, the other stuff that occurred. Like, again, this 14-year-old girl at the time being raped by her father and then eventually her brother after her father's death. And it's just like, Jesus fuck. But anyway, moving on from that, because I don't want to spend these entire afterthoughts just talking about that. There was one other thing I looked up in between, and that was about the entire sequel thing. I apparently got some things mixed up, because apparently the 2009 one that preceded this was part of a trilogy. The original Swedish films had a full trilogy that were based on, like, the first 3 books in the Millennium series. This movie is preceded by a sequel that is technically a sequel to this movie, but actually skips a bunch of books. Apparently there's like 2 trilogies in the series, and the movie after this, like, with this, I guess, continuity, quote unquote, actually follows the first book, I guess, in the second trilogy. So it's skipping a lot of things and apparently moving into something else. I didn't look up anything else about it in case I end up watching it, but yeah, this one and the next one, the American ones, I guess you could say, there's only 2 of them. There are 3 in the original trilogy, the original Swedish films, though. So that's probably where I was getting confused. I probably heard about that to a degree. Very possible. Like, I could get things mixed up like that all the time. But yeah. So there was an original Swedish trilogy, and then there's an American duology that's 2 kind of separated books. But still technically, like, back to back. It's complicated. But yeah, I didn't look up any other information about the next one or even the original trilogy because I don't want any possibility of spoilers. But let's talk about this. So, moving on from all the stuff I've already mentioned, this movie, in terms of its writing, direction, pacing, the mystery elements, the acting, all really good. Hard to sit through at some points, obviously, but like really engaging. This was a 2.5 hour movie. Didn't feel like 2.5 hours, honestly. Honestly, if you would have told me this was under 2 hours, I would have believed you. It felt shorter than it was because I got invested in it. I became like interested in the mystery and the characters, and I did suspect Stellan Skarsgård. I did suspect Martin. There were some suspicious things he said, and honestly, again, after seeing Nymphomaniac, it's like, okay, he can do really well at playing the kind of the sleeper villain there. So it's like I did suspect him. Also, considering one of his sons is, you know, famous for playing the likes of Pennywise and whatnot. I think the family is just like known for like playing some villainous characters here and there. So yeah, those Stellan Skarsgård and Bill Skarsgård, and I don't remember the other son's name. The Skarsgårds have also played, you know, good characters too. They don't only play villains. Um, Bill Skarsgård was in Barbarian, right? He played a good guy in that. And Stellan Skarsgård was in Thor, I believe. Maybe the Avengers too. I think he was in both of them. Either way. Um, but yeah, I really, really got invested in this. Like, even with the uncomfortable stuff, like, I was so invested in this dude getting his comeuppance, and it was so satisfying. I was so excited to see him to get attacked by her. And then even like near the end of the movie where she also attacks Martin, like that was exciting too. It's like I was just kind of rooting for her the whole movie. It's like, don't get me wrong, I liked Mikhail plenty. Daniel Craig did a great job, but like I was much more invested in Lisbeth. And I understand it's like the movie is obviously named after her, the girl with the dragon tattoo. But I feel like both of them were kind of equal parts main characters. It did end with her specifically, but I still feel like he's a main character as well. And I'm very, very curious to know, like, what would happen next. Like, after, like, you know, she finds out that he's still with his boss and everything, even though she's still married and all. Because you know, Lisbeth felt extremely used right there, especially with, you know, all the shit she's had to go through in her young life. She's 23, it said, and it's just like, God. Because the thing is, she said this started when she tried to kill her father, which also she specifically said tried, and like only got partial like way done with it. It's like, what does that mean? You burnt him alive and he still survived? Jesus. But it never actually specifies why she did that. And there's a lot of implication that a lot of what she's done, a lot of the, you know, negative things and more aggressive tendencies are birthed from how other people treat her. And there is a major part of this film that is about, you know, women being abused sexually and physically and being, you know, treated horrifically just by people around them. So there is an absolutely possibility of the idea that her father might have abused her, even if not sexually. And the idea that she burnt him alive, like, kind of plays into the possible idea that maybe she was doing so to protect herself, to escape his tyranny, and because maybe she snapped. She mentioned, like, she admitted to being crazy, and she might have just legitimately had a mental snap, a breakdown because of something he did to her. And she just never fully recovered from it because, like, you know, how do you recover from something like that? That makes you burn your father alive to escape from whatever he did to you? it's like it makes you very curious, and I wonder if the other books go into this or the other movies. I also wonder how this differs from the first movie of the original trilogy, the Swedish one. Very, very curious about that. But beyond that, um, I kind of wish Christopher Plummer was in more of this because he was just so good in the scenes he was in. Like his emotional reaction to Harriet returning, like how do you even act that good? How do you do that? What did he summon from his depths to be able to pull out that amazing of a emotive response to seeing her again after 40 years? To know that she was alive this entire time. How the fuck do you do that? Because that was genuinely impressive as fuck. Like, I would say one of the more impressive acting performances I've seen, just period. But like, even on top of that, that initial scene where he's talking to Mikhail, and all, like the way he commands the attention during that scene is so fantastic as well. Like he's just so good. Um, I don't think I would say this was the strongest performance I've seen from. I have said his name multiple times. Why can I not think of it? What the fuck is happening with my brain? Daniel Craig. I wouldn't say this is his strongest performance. I think it's better than the James Bond movies, which like he wasn't bad in, but it just felt like his heart wasn't in it. You know, I've always, I've always felt like compared to others like Pierce Brosnan, Daniel Craig never really felt like his heart was fully in it. And when you compare it to Knives Out and Glass Onion, oh, you very much believe that because he feels like he put his all into those two movies. I think those might be his best that I've seen. I know there's a lot of other Daniel Craig movies I haven't seen, but out of what I have, I think those might be at least my personal choices for his best. But this is up there, I would say. Uh, Sorry, that was weird. VLC just tried to come up for a second for some reason. I don't know. Either that or OBS is like fucking around. I don't know. It looks like there's a little bit of lag, so sorry about that. But yeah, either way, maybe it's just because I was recording for so long. And then went almost right away after a little bit of research into this. Either way, back where I was talking. Rooney Mara's performance was obviously fantastic, like everyone clearly says. She did a wonderful job, really sold the character extremely well. The pain and the like really strong moments that she goes through. And you believe her connection with Mikhail grows as it goes along. So like even when like she's laying in bed, he comes by and like puts his hand on her shirt and like is rubbing her back or whatever. And then when she like asks him to put it back in after he stops, it's like you believe it. You kind of just like believe that this relationship has formed. Like I said though, unfortunately at the end he kind of goes back to his old life and leaves her behind. So yeah, not great there, but yeah, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a really fun movie. I liked just the visual direction of it, the writing, the pacing. Really, it worked for me on a number of levels. And yeah, it was hard to watch, but it was also really exciting at moments when like you got like the payoff for all those setups, both the horrifically uncomfortable ones and just the mystery elements. Um, I couldn't follow along with this as well as some other mysteries in film and whatnot. This one was very complex, but like I said, I did kind of like suspect Martin before it was really confirmed for us, so there is that. But there was a lot that I was having trouble following. And at the end, I would say the weakest part of the movie is kind of the aftermath of the big mystery and stuff after Martin's death, and they're once they start going after the the guy who sued Mikhail in the first place for his article. It started with a W. I don't remember, but when they started going after him, it kind of started losing me a little. Like, excuse me. I understand that that was still a loose end they had to wrap up, and it felt like the movie was over at that point. You know what I mean? Like, if they had not wrapped that up, I don't think I would have cared. Or if they had like cut it back a little, it felt like maybe it was just too long. It just feels like it was tacked on. It's the only weak part of the film, I would say. And it's more like it just, after everything, it just feels like it's kind of superfluous to come back to that and to suddenly have like this almost espionage like takedown of this guy that eventually ends in him being killed. um it almost feels like it changes genres, like from this noir mystery to a espionage spy thriller, and it just feels a little out of place. Like with Lisbeth going under disguise and forging a passport and shit. It's like, come on, what? Why? Like, honestly, I think I would have liked it better if, like, Henrik just had the information and just gave it to Mikhail, and we just find out through some dialogue or whatever that, yeah, he was taken down, or through another news report or something. I think that would have been easier. You don't need to go into this entire suddenly Ocean's 11 bullshit. It's like, what was the point of that? Again, maybe that's just how it's done in the book, but it just felt like a complete left turn. Maybe that's just me, though. Maybe it's just me. Um, Weird little bug flying in my face. Either way, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this movie? Let me know your thoughts on some of the more divisive parts of it. What your thoughts are on, like, sexual assault being included in film. Because like I said, I feel like it can actually help get discussions on this going. And it's like, if you're going to have it in a film or a game or show or whatever, if you at least portray it as being as bad and horrific as it is, then at least you're making people aware of the dangers and the horrors of this, rather than trying to paint it as, like, fan servicey, sexually stimulating or whatnot. It's kind of like how Dan to Dan handles it. Dan to Dan handles it well because it's like, you're not supposed to like or be turned on or anything when it's happening. You're supposed to be extremely uncomfortable because it's fucked up and just not okay. But, entirely different kind of handling even then. But yeah, tell me your thoughts on the divisive stuff and what your thoughts on all of that are, and more. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.